just like to feel that depth, because with me, with squats, the one thing that I cop out on is really hitting that depth. Obviously, when you get to a comp, you can't miss out the depth. Like, if you don't get depth, you don't get the lift.
Exactly. Let's go. See you, Larry. Welcome back to the show. Here we are at Strong Gym, the best strongman gym in Dubai with Kiera Justin.
Hi.
Thanks for being a part of the channel. So, if you can't tell yet, she is super strong. She's going for 220 kg squat today, nearly 500 pounds, and she's 9 weeks out.
Yeah, 9 weeks out, I think, on Sunday. So, have a little bit of time to improve. Hopefully get up to about 250, 260 kilos. So, it should be good.
Ooh,
yeah.
Hell yeah. It's like a 20% increase from where you're at now?
Yeah. Like that, yeah.
So we're running back again after she smashed you 220, probably for more than one rep. I'm assuming
probably.
It's gonna
we're gonna go for it.
Yes. Me, on the other hand, I'm gonna be going for 310 with knee reps for between 10 to 15. We'll see. This is my second squat workout back since the injury. Now, Doc said take a month off. I've taken 3, taking my time getting back into it, but from my most recent cycle, which I'm at the end of because of the arm wrestling match, I'm still pretty strong, so probably pull something out of my ass that I don't expect, but we'll find out. Love squatting here because we can bring the rack right in the middle of the gym. We got the OG iron 45-pound plates, so we're ready to roll. Let's get to it.
Let's go.
All right. Did you call squats when you warm up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much up until about 190. Like, I just like to feel that depth, because with me, with squats, the one thing that I cop out on is really hitting that depth. Obviously, when you get to a comp, you can't miss out the depth. Like, if you don't get depth, you don't get the lift.
Exactly.
So I spend more time in the hole, make sure like I'm down there, pause squats, sometimes do like tempo or 1.5 squats, just really spending the time like down in the hole as much as possible. So hopefully on the day, it's ingrained in my brain to actually stay down there long enough. But yeah, it's definitely working. Like, my squat depth has got a lot better so far.
Oh yeah, that was right where you needed.
Well, I can't see, so it's a good judgment.
Don't worry, I'll be the strict judge that calls your depth.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right, what are we going on? 2 more plates?
Yeah, and then if you want to go quarter jumps, that's cool
Yeah,
too.
yeah, that's that. Thank you.
when I did my last bench endeavor session, I hit a PR. I did 585 for 4, and I did, was on the deadlift, 765 for 7. And that was the most I've ever done, and I haven't even been training for it. So I think it's a combination of being on cycle, still lifting, but not overtraining.
Exactly.
And when I compete, I always end up overtraining.
It's the thing, isn't it? And you get, the more you train, you reach a peak, and then you get weaker, essentially. Like, you've overtrained it. I always find that you perform better when you've got like a week off, you've let yourself rest. So the fact that you've, had 3 months off essentially, now you're getting back to it, I reckon they're all just going to fly, which is going to be in your favour.
Exactly, no, 100%.
Yeah.
And the warm-ups, I can always tell from the warm-ups, feeling really light on my back, really explosive, and I don't even have the wraps on yet, so feeling good about it. My best I've done is like 8 in sleeves. I think I did an AMRAP with wraps, I may have gotten 10.
Yeah.
So I want to try and get 15, but we'll see. Very ambitious.
No, I reckon you got it. You got it today.
We'll see. All right. Last warm up. Make it fly. Yes.
So I'm not used to walking it out, so usually using mono. So I find like when you do walk it out, like the stability in your core needs to be really tight. So like when I'm walking it out, I've got to breathe to walk it out, and then once I'm out, I've got to breathe again to brace. So I think if you walk out the squats, you've got such better stability. Like once you're doing it, like I can always see you walking out all of yours.
Yeah, and as of late, I was training for a wrap meet, I was using the mono.
Yeah.
But using the mono never felt as comfortable as walking out my squat. When you walk out, as you said, the weight settles on your back a lot better, and you do get that extra stability from the core. You have to brace and be more conscious about that.
Yeah.
And then also, like when you wedge your feet in, when you walk it out, you just feel like everything's more settled.
Yeah.
But with the mono, you get to have your feet placed perfectly.
Yeah, but then again with the mono, like if you've got your foot position wrong, you're in that then, do you know what I mean? Because like if you're always used to using the mono, you're not used to then changing your foot position. So it's like once you've unwrapped, if your foot position is wrong,
that's true. You can't readjust.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed. But
it needs to be like, it can't be too far back from the barbell or too in front. It needs to be just right.
Yeah. Well, I'm just getting back into using the monolift like now, because prep for me started literally last week. So prep for me started last week. My cycle started last week, so I'm actually pretty weak right now.
Well,
but
this is weak.
Yeah, this is weak. Fingers crossed in like 5-6 weeks time, my numbers should be pretty dramatically increased. But squat for me has always been something that has just shot up once I've started a cycle. After about 3-4 weeks, it kind of just skyrockets. But it's the first time I've been back in the mono for like, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 months. So because of that, it's like getting used to, like you say, when you have it on your back and you unrack, if you're a bit too far forward or a bit too far back, it completely sets you off. Like, so this is different for me. This is like a PB for so long, plus walking it out as well. It's just like a double PB, but it should be good. Fingers crossed it'll go all right.
Hell yeah, and we have the best angle imaginable because there's nothing obstructing the camera view. So this is why we come here.
There's no chi in it. Like,
exactly.
Should be good.
Exactly. And then how do you feel using this elongated bar versus a standard 20 kg power bar? Because this one, for you, I think wouldn't make much of a change because you go in so close.
Do you know, I feel the thicker bars when you're using like a squat bar, it feels more comfortable, more stable on your back.
Absolutely.
I feel like you're just kind of like more like closed in, whereas I feel like with a power bar, it's just, I don't know, I feel like there's more space between you. It sounds really strange, but I just feel like there's more space for it to roll. It's not as close to your back. So I always prefer to use one of the actual squat bars, one of the 25 kg squat bars. I think they work a lot better for me, especially for my low bar is quite low. Like people's range of low bar can actually be just slightly like lower than high bar, for example.
Right.
But because mine's quite low, having the thicker bar, you can just hold onto it better. So I'd always go for a thicker bar.
I totally agree. And when you have a really thick squat bar, there's far less bar whip. Yeah, and that whip when you use a regular power bar in a typical commercial gym, it creates so much instability. And when it's flopping about, if you're doing a low bar, that's the last thing you want. And this, unless you're doing a high bar Olympic style squat, then that flop, that whip can actually help you drive out of the hole because they kind of dive bomb, go ass to grab, and use that momentum from the whip to bring themselves up. As a low bar squatter, you want zero bar
agree. Yeah, definitely.
But anyways, I think it's about your time to shine.
Right, let's go.
Just getting started, come on. Come on. Okay. Come on. Okay. Let's go. Yes, yes. Oh, no problem. No problem. That's good. Very, very good.
Feel like it was a little bit high.
A little bit high, yes.
A little bit high.
A little bit high.
But for the first time doing that in like maybe, I'd say 17, 18 weeks.
Yeah.
It's not bad, not a bad starting point, but definitely needs to get lower. I feel like always when I hit new weights or I reintroduce new weights, the fear of the new weight is always there.
Yes.
And as like an elite powerlifter, that sounds really stupid, like being strong, like being afraid of lifting weight. But when I get used to it, it's almost like I get comfortable with it and then I reach depth, and it's the same with everything, but it only seems to happen on squat because I feel like you've got to get it back up. So it's like copping out that tiny bit at the bottom to get it back up. It's usually where I go wrong, but I'm happy with that. I do some back down sets. See how they go, maybe like on 180, 190. Okay. But you'll go.
Yes.
You'll go.
Yeah, I got a couple more sets. And I was going to say, whenever I begin prep after a layoff or off season, I always struggle in the beginning of prep to hit depth. But always hit it where it counts. So I know in competition, you're not hitting high squats. Maybe earlier in prep. But as you're getting adjusted and the confidence is building back again. Because when you're off cycle and you jump back on cycle, you're not as confident as when you're peak strength and you know everything's kicked in full force. So you kind of take your time, you're a bit more cautious. But then once everything starts kicking in and you know like you're deep into the strength phase and peaking, that problem goes away. That confidence just creeps up really quickly.
So fingers crossed. Be repping that in a few weeks. Give me a few weeks. Should be good.
Oh yeah. Hey, we're running back again. We're running back again.
Cool. With that.
Oh yeah. 100%.
So I feel like when I usually squat, like what you saw with like my warm-ups, I tend to stop, and even when I get to my heavier weights, I have a tendency to stop at the bottom. So it's one of the reasons why I don't use wraps, because I don't feel like I get as much out of them as like you would. You know how you, like for example, you rebound at the bottom, you get that kind of tension at the bottom. It's like a spring. So I just fully use like I do raw when I do comps, because I feel like I can actually get a better total in raw than when I put wraps on. I don't feel like I can get the max out of it at all. But I mean, I give them a go. Maybe in a few months' time, I might put them back on the thing.
It's worth the shot, because definitely once you learn the wrap and find the wrap that feels best for you, and a good wrapper, and how there's like a few different ways to wrap them. Extremely tight where you can't move your leg at all. I like a medium wrap.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Like, the tighter isn't always the better. You've got to find that kind of, like, I've been wrapped by a few people. I'm not sure whether you know a guy called Tom Martin. He's a really good powerlifter. His wrapping is insane. But even with that, like, the wraps, I just was focusing more on how tight they were on my legs than the actual squat. So I was like, right, get rid of them, do raw, but the rebound on your squat, like, definitely, I reckon, like, with wraps, is like the perfect squat to add wraps to. Like, do you know what I mean?
As of late with my wraps, I've certainly felt like maybe as much as like a 5% to 10% increase.
Oh wow, okay.
So I could be on my max squat like, you know, maybe 40 kg or so, 30 to 40. Top rappers, like experts, they're doing like 50 kg. Like 15%.
Do you wrap yourself, or do you get someone else to?
I get Sharif to wrap me.
Oh wow. You get an extra workout then there as well.
Exactly. But you know, I don't have them wrap it super tight. It's just a firm wrap, like medium. And I've had done by a guy at Desert Barba where I couldn't even stand.
Yeah.
My legs were turning purple.
Yeah.
It was way
it's like
too
get
much.
up, squat, take them off kind of thing, yeah.
Literally. I couldn't even squat with that. Unracked it. Like, no,
Yeah.
you just gotta go back.
No, but it's good. I reckon I'll try them in a few months' time, just for the fun of it. But this meet I'll do full power, like especially in America, like it's a big thing to do kind of full raw, like no wraps, like nothing like that. So it'll be good to be able to compete and just have it completely raw, you know, like not have the kind of, oh, she can lift that in wraps, but what can she do without kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I think that way it's kind of like there's no hiding it, like.
And you know, that's why I've always squatted in wraps myself. So sorry, in sleeves, raw.
Yeah.
So that no one can take anything away from my lifts.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
And it's just more satisfying when you know you didn't need anything but yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe some wrist wraps.
Yeah, well, that's just to stop your wrist from actually breaking.
Exactly.
Real, right.
One more here. And in the middle. Fire through. From that, like once I get out of the hole, I can tell my legs.
So what is your training split with like bodybuilding, powerlifting, arm wrestling? So obviously like doing everything, like what is your split?
Right now, I'm having fun with powerlifting style of training, which I'll still do my squat bench deadlift weekly.
Yeah.
I'll have 2 bodybuilding days, like for arms and for legs.
Okay.
But for arm wrestling, while my coaches were here, the Georgians, we were doing arm wrestling training 4 days a week.
Wow, okay.
And yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah.
But generally, when I'm not preparing for anything in particular, you know, I just do powerlifting style of training, and then on Fridays I'll pull with the practice group for arm wrestling.
Okay.
But I'm never actually doing 2 sports at the same time. So I always do one sport, take a break, choose another.
Yeah.
That way it gives my body time to heal. For example, my biceps are just blowing up right now. So if I were to jump into another competition like in a month or 2, I would not be ready for it. Just I need time to rest, to heal the tendons, and you've seen that take such a beating when you do like a heavy training cycle. So that's why I like to juggle so many different sports. So I'm trying to have longevity overall. Arm wrestling is something I can do for decades. Powerlifting, there's a short shelf life because of the injuries, which are inevitable no matter how experienced of a lifter you are. If you want to push the envelope, it's just going to happen. Because you don't know when your body is like at its limit. You think you know, but
you don't.
But you end up not knowing, and that's when something goes wrong. But luckily in my case, it's been small injuries. But with bodybuilding, every time I finish a heavy compound movement, I'll do bodybuilding style training.
Pretty much the same, because the reason why I ask is because obviously I juggle powerlifting and bodybuilding, but obviously you then also have arm wrestling thrown in on top of that, and it's like those 2 by itself, they help each other. Like you say, you do your compound movements and then you go and kind of do like bodybuilding style training afterwards. So it's great, but I was wondering how like you did like your arm wrestling on top of, you know, how you said your low bar would affect your bicep tendon and everything like that. So that's pretty interesting that
so now that I'm done with arm wrestling training for at least a few weeks, I'm taking the opportunity to do a couple low bar squats. But when I was doing the arm wrestling training, I was still squatting, but it was front squat, safety squat bar.
Just different variations.
Exactly. Still a compound variation of the squat, but I wasn't low bar, just put so much stress on the bicep. I feel it now. Like my bicep this morning felt nothing. But now it's just horrible. Just a dull ache. Like I'm like, give icy hot, some ibuprofen. You know, my legs feel great, everything feels great, but
just that one thing. But it's what people say, isn't it? When you're at the top of your game, it's not necessarily how to avoid injury. It's how to cope with it, how to deal with it, like working around it. Like when you're at the top of your sport, there is no, oh, I feel great today, nothing hurts kind of thing. Like it's just kind of working around it. But it's pretty impressive that you can do all 3, because I do too, and like that's a lot.
It is.
Yeah.
Look, it really is. But powerlifting and bodybuilding have such an interesting synergy because you do a 3-month cycle powerlifting, you take some time off, do a bodybuilding competition, give your spine, your joints, everything time to heal.
And it's just little things as well, like in bodybuilding, like people don't realize how much you build from just doing squat, bench, and deadlift. Like your main foundation is squat, bench, and deadlift.
Absolutely.
And then the extras, like maybe a bit of delts, you know, like working on your glutes a little bit, like it's just little accessory work really. Like they work so well in conjunction with each other. Like, and you're seeing more and more people now starting to lift heavy, or starting to turn to powerlifting a bit more, like starting to adding those heavier compounds in. Like it's pretty great to see like more people, like men and women, like lifting heavier in general. Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like things that you can measure.
Yes. Yeah.
And bodybuilding is tough to measure. You just see what you see in the mirror, or maybe on the scale.
Yeah.
But powerlifting, strength training, you say, okay, I did X amount of kg.
Yeah. Well, it's the reason why I got into powerlifting was because I moved from bikini to figure, and I needed a big off season, and because of that, I had to put on a bit of weight. And the only thing that kept me going was, okay, well, if my lifts are increasing and I'm getting stronger, then I must be putting on muscle somewhere. So that's actually what got me into powerlifting in the first place. Was in my mind, I was like, right, let's get these lifts strong, and then when I cut in X amount of months, years, whatever it is, my foundation will be so much better. So it's a great way to like measure, you know, how much mass you can put on, and it's just, I think it's better for your mentality as well, like being able to have something to aim for.
100%.
Yeah. Right.
All right, let me get to work, I guess. My last set.
What are you gonna-
Let's go.
See you, Larry.
Easy. Up.
There you go.
Good.
Let's go.
Come on. Good.
Nice.
Yep.
Very nice. How many was that?
That was 8.
8.
That's not bad. That's what stopped me from pushing so hard. Exactly. Because the heaviest I've been in 3 months, so just wanted something to shock my system back into lifting heavy again.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 reps from your PB is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Just easing
Awesome.
yourself back into
Right,
it.
yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Come on.
Up. Up. Come on. Yep. Go. Yes.
Keep moving.
Yeah. One more. Big air. Yes. Okay, you got more in you. You got more in you.
One more.
Okay. 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 Up. Perfect. Great stamina you got going on too.
Cardio.
I see, yes. We'll need a treadmill after that.
Happy with that. But it's just not always practical. So
Yeah.
trying to avoid injuries and get there in a way that is as quick as possible, but also, you know, smart training and not ego lifting and such.
Exactly.
So,
Keep the ego in check is the hardest part of strength
yeah,
training.
definitely. Especially when you feel good. You know, you're going to a gym one day and you're like, you feel incredible, but you know, your body might not actually be feeling it just because you feel great. Like, so yeah, it's definitely moving. I would like maybe a 250 to very good depth before I compete. And ideally, I think when I hit the platform, my third lifts, I want them to be something I haven't done before. You know, I think you go all that way, fly to America. I don't want to play it safe. You know what I mean? Like first and second attempt, fine. Play it safe, get the numbers, and then third attempt, I'm just gonna, you know, throw it all out on the table and just have some fun with it. You have to have fun.
Absolutely.
Like,
At the end of the day, if you're not having fun, what are you doing there?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, should be good fun, but
Oh yeah.
we'll see how it goes. So out of breath after that.
Hey, you're still standing. That's impressive in itself.
Operation on my stomach, and I couldn't really stretch backwards, so like to be able to actually hold the bar. So I used safety squat bar for about 2-3 months, and my squats shot there because obviously you have to, again with your core, you have to have the mobility and the core strength to be able to hold it. So it's brilliant for everything.
I think safety squat bar is just such an excellent multi-purpose tool.
Yeah.
Has significant carryover to a low bar squat.
Yeah.
Because even if you shoot your hips back and try and emulate a low bar squat, you're still very quad dominant movement.
Yeah,
and as you said, your core is the bar is trying to round you over, so you develop like good upper back strength too. It was more like a good morning.
Yeah, 100%.
With a safety squat bar than a traditional squat, because you feel like your back is so involved. But when I've had any like pec, arm injury, upper body injury, if it wasn't for the safety squat bar, I'd be screwed.
Yeah.
You know?
It's great as well. I find people who fold over quite a lot.
Yeah.
It's a great tool because, like you say, it pushes you forward. So if they're already folding over and then they go on the safety squat bar, they're seriously going to fold over. So to work on then actually having to bring the squat back and not do a good morning as such,
right.
It's great for that as well. When I went into low bar, I used to, and still do sometimes when the weight gets heavier, really lean forward, and then that would affect the line of my knees and my hip. So I would reach depth with my knees, but my bum would be like somewhat up here in the air. So safety squat bar has been really good for that as well.
And it teaches you how to drive with your back, as squat is a full body movement.
Yeah.
Some think that when you squat, you just drive with your legs.
Yeah.
Safety squat bar teaches, okay, I have to push up.
Yeah.
And when you've got like a 1 or 3 or max on your back, you can't just use your legs to get it up. 100%. You really have to drive everything, including your back, into that bar. So
really
I love
good.
it. I love it. Not to mention, like I said, any upper body dull, even if you're not injured, even if you're aching like me, you won't feel anything but take the squat bar.
Yeah. It's a really good movement, definitely.
Yeah. So, you know, we're being lazy powerlifters today, and we're going to call it after some squat AMRAPs. Like if you don't already follow Kira Jastin, her link is in the bio below. And thanks to all who tuned in at King of the Table 2. We have a 3 and 4 already scheduled. We will slowly feed you the information on when that's coming, exactly who are the competitors. We are working on who the matchups are going to be. And the Black Friday sales support, thank you. Still, we're getting huge sales, and we're a bit backed up because of the holidays. Everyone wants Christmas PR presents. So shout out to all you guys all you girls who are getting your boyfriend a PR belt. Thank you very much. And we will be back very soon. In another video, I'll explain what my next step is going to be when it comes to content, training, competition, all that good stuff. On that note, Larry will sign it off. Kira, any last words?
Thank you for having me. I'm gonna try and walk up my 16 flight of stairs now.
Are you doing Stairmaster?
No. Our lift in our apartment's broken.
Oh no.
So leg day is interesting.
Yeah, so you don't need any other leg work. That's gonna be it.
That'll be my cardio for today.
That's more than enough.
Well, no, thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thanks for being a part of the channel, and we can't wait to see you in a few weeks when you're Super Kira.
Yes, give me a few weeks.
Yeah, I think you have a cape and everything at that time.
Yeah, a whole suit.
All right, guys, catch you in the next one.